Hey, it's Hunt. You found Hunt on Saints. We're talking black and gold football. Do us a favor. Hit the like button, share your comments below, and hit that subscription button so you can get all of our content. Enjoy. Alvin Kamara's suspension has been levied by the NFL. He will miss 3 games to start the New Orleans Saints season. To talk about it, we bring on our guest, Sean Fazende of Fox 8 down in New Orleans. Sean, thanks so much for your time. How are you?
Doing all right. Busy Friday down here in New Orleans, but glad to have the news of Alvin Kamara's suspension finally out.
For sure. It's busy Friday out west in the Pac-12. It's busy Friday here in Baton Rouge, and certainly a busy Friday down here in New Orleans. That's good for us. A lot of content here.
Mm-hmm.
Your initial reaction when you see 3 games?
My initial reaction is I'll take it. If I were in the Kamara Saints camp, I think everyone had pretty much accepted the fact that he was going to take a suspension. And 2 things that were really they really wanted. One was to get it done early in the season, and that's obviously going to happen. And B, obviously, to have as few games as possible. I was honestly in the neighborhood of 4 to 5 game suspension. So to come out with 3, I think that's they'll take that. The Saints will, and so they got it done early, at least for the beginning of the season. And to only have 3 game suspension, I think that's a pretty good thing for the Saints.
Yeah, I think there were some that once the felony charges were dropped, I think everybody kind of stopped. 4 was kind of the max. Some people were floating around 2. I said 4. I think 3 makes some sense. The Saints will start the season against Tennessee, and they're at Carolina, rookie quarterback, at Green Bay, a quarterback who hasn't played a game yet. So your thoughts on the way the Saints look in the backfield for those 3 games without Alvin Kamara?
I think they match up still fairly well. Jamal Williams is a guy that's they trust a lot, a veteran that they signed in the offseason, really endeared himself to his teammates. And then the rookie, Kendre Miller, is certainly a guy, especially in the last, say, 3 or 4 practices, you can certainly see an uptick in his play. So that's a couple of guys they'll rely on. Be very curious to see who they keep or how they manage the roster with Alvin Kamara because, obviously with the suspension, they're going to have to have someone else, in that spot. So I'll be curious to see if anyone on the roster is able to, to step up, like, Benjamin or any other player, Merriweather, whoever the case may be that's on the roster right now. Or, as always, they could look, elsewhere around the league, when that final cut-down day happens. But I think for the most part, they can manage without Kamara for those first 3 days. It's not ideal, but they got to do what they got to do. So I think overall they feel pretty good about where they stand.
I know you join Matt Moscona frequently on After Further Review, and Matt's been fairly adamant that he thinks Kendre Miller is the heir apparent to Kamara's spot and that this will be Kamara's last year with the New Orleans Saints. Do you have a thought on that?
I don't know if it's the last year. I know he's just turned 28, and he's getting into the part of his contract where those discussions can certainly come up. I know this. You can talk about having the next Alvin Kamara, but until you have it, you don't have it.
Yeah.
So, and I think this year you're going to see a little bit more of that dual threat role with him that you saw in the first 3 years of his career when he was getting, 80 to 85 receptions a season as opposed to the last couple where he really had to carry the load on the ground, north of 220-plus carries. So I think you're going to see probably the carries dip a little bit and the receptions go up a little bit, and which is really what he's best suited for in that role. But to the original point with Kendre Miller, I think he gets on the field early. I really do. I think the Saints like him. I think he's really shown kind of the football IQ to learn this offense. It's not easy for a rookie. I've seen rookies come through this the first week of camp, and their eyes and their head is just swimming just because of all the complexities within this offense. He seems to be in a good spot mentally, and obviously he's doing well on the football field, and he's healthy. So I don't know if he replaces Alvin Kamara next year. I think he can be a future star, but I think he does get on the field pretty quickly within this offense.
Chatting with Sean Fazende, Fox 8 down in New Orleans, talking Saints. Y'all heard from Alvin Kamara today. Anything that stood out from that conversation? Obviously, that was pre-suspension.
Yeah, quite a bit. First off, we weren't expecting it. He wasn't on the list to talk today, so we weren't expecting him to open up, and open up he did. Basically the message was I was wrong. I was embarrassed. I embarrassed my family, my city, my team, my family, my mother, all that stuff. I mean, he opened up, was pretty contrite about everything, even dropped the Tony Dungy line of, nothing good happens after midnight. So he seemed pretty contrite about the whole situation. He's had a long time to think about it. I mean, a really long time when you talk about this was late January, early February of 2022. So I think more than anything, though, contrition, obviously, but he's relieved that this is over. And honestly, the entire organization is relieved that this is just because it kind of been hanging over them for quite some time. And an otherwise really good offseason and really good start of training camp, this has always been sort of out there. Now this question has been answered, and now they can sort of go on about their business, adjusting to life without him for the first 3 weeks, and then when he comes back, reacclimating him back into the offense.
You also heard from Trevor Penning today. If you're talking about guys on this roster who are the most important this year, once you get beyond Derek Carr, Trevor Penning comes up pretty quickly. What did you hear from him today?
Yeah, he was, I actually opened up the press conference with just say, hey, where are you at now as compared to last year when he was just sort of this huge offensive lineman, but very raw and coming from obviously a small school. He said, he's light years ahead. The game has slowed down for him, so he's a little more comfortable in what he's doing. The obvious thing for him is to stay healthy. Knock on wood, he's mostly done that. And I'll tell you, he had one of his best practices today. I really noticed him today, not just run blocking, pass blocking as well, which is always going to be the thing you have to worry about with him, just given his size and his, he's got kind of heavy feet. But run blocker, he pile drives guys into the ground. But pass blocking, he's got to have a little more technique and a little more lateral movement. I thought today he really showed that. And the thing is, with Andrews Pete out, he's getting all the first-team reps at left tackle, and it's been mostly James Hurst getting left guard reps, and it's kind of this three-way battle for two positions with Penning, Hurst, and Pete on that left side. But with Pete out, and actually Hurst was out today with a veteran day off, Penning has gotten a ton of reps at left tackle, which is exactly what he needs. He needs as many reps as possible. So I think he's, possibly turned a corner a bit in his pass blocking.
One more here, Sean. Your time appreciated on this Friday. Defensive line, first-round pick, second-round pick, and two notable free agent acquisitions. What can you tell us about this overhaul early in camp? I know they hadn't strapped the full pads on and gone after it where you would really notice the defensive lineman, but anything of note with those four players?
Yeah, I felt like the physicality up front when the pads came on picked up a little bit, which is exactly what you want to see. Brazil has mixed in quite a bit with the first team, and you can tell, especially pass rushing, he's got sort of he's got some pass rush moves. He's refined for a rookie, and it's just getting used to the physicality. I think probably got a little ways to go when it comes to defending the run, but I think that will certainly come when he gets a little seasoning. Isaiah Foskey, I got to be honest, is he needs some work. He's not there yet. He's just not, and that's okay. It's a rookie. It's a defensive end. The physicality is different at this level, but I mentioned Trevor Penning earlier. One of the guys he took to the ground was Isaiah Foskey today. So he's just got to get used to the physicality and probably got to get a little bit better technique. He's just not there yet. He'll get there eventually. He's not there yet. It's 8 practices in his rookie year. It's fine. But I still think he has a little ways to go. But the guys that have really stepped up defensive end-wise have been Granderson and Turner. That's a heck of a battle that I'm not sure I could say a winner or a leader right now. I mean, Granderson's got the majority of the first-team reps, but those two guys have really competed and brought the best out of the others. So that's been a pretty good battle to watch.
Sean, thanks so much for some time. I know it's a busy Friday. I'll let you get back to work.
All right, man. No problem.
Sean Fazende, Fox 8 down there in New Orleans. Busy day at Saints camp. Cam Jordan signs an extension. Alvin Kamara suspension is levied by the NFL. If you're just catching us, 3 games for Alvin Kamara. He'll be back in Week 4 for the Houdatts. Who do they have in Week 4? I mentioned the teams that he will miss. He's going to miss the opener home against Tennessee. Then they're at Carolina, at Green Bay, and he'll return Week 4, a noon kickoff in the Superdome against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Hey, it's on. Thanks for watching Hunt on Saints. Before you leave, help us out a little bit. Hit that like button, leave your comments in the section below, and hit that subscribe button so you get all our content right here from Hunt on Saints. We'll see you next time.